shoot the shots that you have time for. It's his subconscious pulling the trigger.
I don't care what you do, as long as you produce results with it.
That decision should have been made before you put the magazine in your gun.
My name is Maarten. I'm the CEO at MDT, and I like to shoot. I like shooting matches especially because I like to get better. I like progress. And I want to make sure that I put all my effort into making sure that I shoot a decent match. I have this match coming up in a few weeks in Saskatchewan. And I want to do well at this match. So what I've been doing is shooting in my shop almost every day. I shoot 50 rounds of 22. And I shoot them off of a few different positions. Unstable positions, making sure that I get good trigger pulls, so that I'm stable, so I'm quick, so that I just really get as much trigger time in as possible before the match starts. To help me out a little bit, this is Ryan Stacy. So there's been two people in my life that have helped me improve my shooting significantly. One of them is Raul Verzosa and Ryan Stacy. But now I found in the last year or so, with shooting being less, it's gone downhill, and I need to get my mental game back up and my practice back in. So as I do some of the practice here, we'll see what Ryan's got to say, what I'm doing good or bad or ugly.
It's already started off bad because you don't talk about the bad stuff.
Oh, that's true. That was one of the things that he taught me.
Yeah. So much for that lesson. So what's your goal going to be for this match that's coming then? Remember, your goals have to be relatively focused, small, and achievable.
Yeah. My goal is shooting at minimum of 50%.
So another way of thinking about that would be to shoot the shots that you have time for and focus on making those as perfect as you can. Instead of worrying about timing out and rushing a bunch of bad shots at the end, the ones that you know you're going to get off, let's make those as perfect as possible. Okay, so what I'm trying to do with Maarten here is get him to form a subconscious connection between his eye and his trigger finger, so that when his eye sees the sight picture is correct, the gun just fires. It seems like it fires itself, but really it's his subconscious pulling the trigger. So that way he can focus on the sight picture, which when you're firing from all these weird positions might be pretty fleeting. You might only be on the actual target for a second or two, and then it wobbles or something happens. So if I can get him to fire as soon as his eye connects that the sight picture is correct, then we're ahead of the game. So it doesn't really matter what position he shoots from, but I like to make it hard on him.
So this is the shop that we have on the property here. We're going to rip it down in about a year, unfortunately. But this is where I do my shooting. So there's a little concrete wall over there. I have some wood against it and some targets. It's not very far away. This is probably about maybe 25 yards, maybe a little bit less even. And with 1-inch targets. And the goal will be to, I'm going to do groups of 5 from a number of different positions. Some of the practice I do is just taking my time, making good shots. And some of the other practice is more about building the position and getting that first shot off quickly. All right, so I'm actually going to be shooting off of a broom. The reason I'm shooting off of this broomstick, is this rifle is too heavy for me to shoot offhand, but I still want it to be unstable so that I can practice timing, pulling the trigger. So here we go. All right, that's 5. Let's take a look. I got 3 in the same hole, well, close to the same, and 2 off the side here. And as I pulled the trigger, I knew the microsecond that I pulled the trigger, that wasn't the right time, whereas those were pretty good. What I got to get back to is shooting some more of these. And doing a few more rounds, that will get me there pretty quickly.
So when you have a split group like that, sometimes it's a bit of a shift in body position. Somehow, maybe you took your head off the rifle. I didn't notice, but
Yeah, that could be.
yeah, it's a possibility. But they're jumping together, so that's good. Do you remember why we do it in the least stable position? What I told you?
So I train on when to pull the trigger.
Yep. But why do we do it in the least stable position, mostly?
Well, that's when you're least often right on target.
Yeah.
And so it's better training. It's it's easy to do when the rifle is stable.
Yeah. And also mentally, if you can do it when you're in a really unstable position, when you get into a position that's even more stable, it's going to be a no-brainer for you.
Right.
Mentally, you'll think, well, this is easy compared to what I've been doing in training.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yep. I think probably at this point, just focus on finding that sight picture. All your attention should be on trying to find the right sight picture. So let that shot break when it's in the middle of the target, and then we're not going to worry about any of the other stuff at this point. That's really should be your only focus.
Very well.
Yep.
Okay, let me take a few more. So there's our last little group here. That's 5 shots. I'm pretty happy with that.
So one thing I told Maarten to do is to always end on a good note. That's a pretty good note right there. I don't know if you want to shoot any more groups.
No, that's a good time to end this little practice session. That was, well, that was 45 shots. So we'll go for 50 again tomorrow.
There you go.
Unless I hit a really good note before that. All right, so this morning, right now we're on our way to the house of Ryan Stacy. And with Ryan, we're gonna go up into the mountains and do some shooting. In particular, we're gonna be, I believe, we're gonna be focusing on different positions, getting into position, and yeah, we'll see what Ryan has in store for us today. Check out the pumpkin. Holy moly. Are you the avid gardener here?
I don't know if I'm avid, but I'm a gardener.
Those are some big pumpkins.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Those are the biggest ones we've got so far.
Yeah.
Come on in.
All right. Okay, I'm just going to take some shots to kind of confirm that I'm shooting at least in the right direction. Feels so good.
All right, so today I think back at Maarten's place, we were trying to get him to work on subconscious shots, which is good. It's super important. But now we're going to work on some positional stuff. And there's a bit of wind up here as well, so you know, maybe we'll work a bit on using the Kestral and all the tools that are sort of available to us to find out what the atmospherics and wind and stuff is doing. So that'll probably be today's goal.
Okay, so I'm like shooting at it. No indicators, no nothing.
Yep.
What can I do to
So
not like...
what I do is if there's something in the zone, like near it, that I think I can get an indicator off of, like a patch of dirt or something, I'll just burn one into the dirt to see where it goes, so that you're probably going to burn a few trying to find it anyways. You might as well just burn one and at least get an indicator on the first one.
Yeah.
So that's usually my game plan. If you can't do it, like you're shooting the grass or something like that, you just gotta just search around until you find it. That's about all I can do. So now what you're gonna do is look on your Kestral and find your data for that small diamond,
Yeah.
the other orange diamond,
Yeah.
and the camo IPSC. And you're just gonna engage those 3 shots apiece on the first 2 and then 4 on the last one without dialing, just using your holds. Take your time, make good shots. Okay, next one.
Don't got any feedback on that last one.
Don't worry about the speed at this point.
Okay.
Probably one of the best things to do is just ignore the clock in the beginning.
Right.
Just make good hits.
Yeah.
All the ones that you get off should be good hits. I see way too many people and they go way too fast trying to be within the clock and they end up missing easy ones.
Yeah, that's my problem.
Points
too.
that you should get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna look at my holdovers for a second here. So 2 is easy, 4 is easy, 7 point. So 7 point. Okay, so yeah, okay. Well, it shouldn't be too hard. It shouldn't be too hard.
I think as long as you have that 7.5 sort of towards the top of the target, you're gonna be
Right.
good to go. Okay, so you're just gonna get on it, get into position, get solid, shoot your 3, then move on with the rest of it. All right.
Okay.
There's no time,
Yeah.
so just make good shots.
Yep.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
Go for it. Nice and easy. Good. Good. Beautiful. Okay, next you know where you got to hold, right?
Yeah.
That's your focus. Attaboy. Yep, dead center. Beautiful. Right on top of that last one. Good. How does that feel?
Yeah. Good.
It's a little better.
Yeah. So like when when the elevation isn't when I got to look for it, so it's like it's not like 7.6 is like it's right there, right?
Yeah.
It's like you got to kind of
You
find
gotta
it. You kind of got to count a little bit between the
Got to
two,
fidget it in
Yeah.
between, yeah, for sure.
and then you add a little bit of wind hold to it,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
that's where do I quite,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
So I still ended up basically, when I held it there, I thought, okay, well, 8 is at the bottom of the target.
Yep.
And that's kind of what I ended up doing
Yeah,
still.
that's fine.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, as long as you have a hold that you're making hits on.
Right.
You know, I like to focus on the actual number, but if you want to hold 8 at the bottom of the target and visually that's easier for you, and that puts 7.5 in the middle of the target.
Yeah. Right.
You know, the reality in the Army, we used to have people doing different stuff, and I always said, I don't care what you do, as long as you produce results with it. Good. Good.
Oh, of course, the last one. Felt good though, that round, like, especially using the holdovers.
Yeah. Once you sort of get the hang of it, it becomes easier than actually dialing.
Yeah, it definitely is quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and there's definitely stages where you need to,
Yeah.
you don't have enough time to dial.
right.
So you're gonna shoot at the Camo IPSC.
Yeah,
There's one across the road from it.
okay.
You may just want to have a look and see where
Okay.
it's at. So that's your target. So you're gonna shoot off of these positions, just moving. 3, 3, and 4. 3, 3, 4.
Okay.
Okay.
And still holding over?
Yep.
So it'll be about the same 7.6 it was, okay.
Good. There you go. That's fantastic. See it?
Off the right?
Yep. Yeah, forward. Yeah, good. The hair right. A little right again. Gold.
It's more difficult. I'm definitely way more wobbly.
Yeah, for sure. So this is where you really got to focus on that sight picture and make sure that you're breaking the shot when the sight picture's right.
I'm gonna try to shoot a couple out of the crotch, so I gotta use my knees.
Yeah, sure. That's a good idea.
This is for old men.
With your kneeling, you could probably move your position around a little bit. I know you look a little bit awkward.
Yeah, I was a little bit awkward.
Yeah, is you were kind of all in line when I think you probably could have been a little more sideways. Like you were kind of like this.
Yeah.
Okay. You had the right idea with this. This is good. But I think if you went more like this and kind of give yourself a 90 degree on this back knee with all this under here, I mean, the reality of it is if it's low enough, you might even be able to get the butt of the gun on the pump. Oh, yeah, super stable. So it's kind of all about just working yourself around the obstacles.
Yep.
There may be ones where they put the obstacle in and there's no way that you can do it this way. And you might have to go something like this. But it's kind of narrow and it's also a little bit on the wobbly side. So when I shoot kneeling, I always like to make it as wide as I can. And if I can sit on my back foot here too,
Oh yeah.
that's another thing.
Yeah, that's a hard one for me,
But
I
that
think.
just takes practice, right?
Yeah. What I probably should do is end on a good note.
Think so?
Like, it feels good. Got a bunch of different positions.
Yeah.
I think even the fact that we did the training without being speedy on the clock, it just makes the habit of at the match when I am shooting, I think that it kind of breeds the habit in me more of to not rush but to make good shots.
Just slow down a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. Next time.
You bet. So, as preparation for this match, like I think I went the last match, I went there a little bit arrogant and didn't do a lot of training ahead of time, a lot of practice. I'm like, oh, it'll be fine. And then I walk away somewhat disappointed for not getting a decent score, right? So I've kind of, in my mind, broken down the things that I believe I need to work on into 3 things. Number 1, it is just flat out trigger time. The second thing that I'm gonna work on is building the stage, like getting that right, different positions, getting quick into those positions and getting that first shot off. And then the third thing that I think I need to work on is confidence in what my Kestral is telling me, and that basically that all my information is right before I shoot that stage.
Yeah, you touched on it a little bit. I think your biggest thing, just from having watched you at the Hannah and then in Merritt, is that your match prep is terrible. Your stage prep isn't. I shouldn't say it's terrible. It's not where it needs to be, because what's happening is that you're behind the gun trying to make a decision, and that decision, it's too late. That ship sailed. You should have had that decision should have been made before you put the magazine in your gun, and what that's doing, it's losing you time and it's causing you panic through the second half of the stage. So you're not getting good shots halfway through, and especially if you start out weak, then it gets worse. Because I've seen you clean stages, and you may clean 1 or 2, but I've seen you shoot very strong stages, and you act completely differently because you start out strong and then you keep with that plan, and you can tell when a guy had a plan because he's shooting rhythmically. It's just steady. There's no gaps. There's no slowdowns. He's not stopping and looking at his gun or looking at the target and wondering what's going on. Everything flows right through. You watch a fast shooter. It's not this bang bang, bang bang, bang bang, bang bang. It's just steady. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and he gets up, dusts himself off, and it took him 45 seconds. Because he knew where he was going to place his feet. He knew which way he had the bag, going to have the bag in his hand. The wind was already dealt with. He already knew what he was going to do, and his decision making.
All right, spotters ready?
On the misses.
Shooter ready?
Was already made up.
Shooter time starts now.